counterfeit these nigga bitches. I'm talking about running off with pounds, man, you know I'm with it. I'm talking about chop 100 round, man, they get to flipping. I'm man down, man down.
My friends, we have done it.
Hold up, one more time.
If she say no, you gotta go. I'm so sorry, but absolutely nothing.
Swiss cheese, counterfeit these nigga bitches. I'm talking about running off with pounds, man, you know I'm with it. I'm talking about chop 100 round, man, they get to flipping. I'm man down, man down.
My friends, we have done it.
Yes, that is right. Oh my God. Zohran Mamdani went from 1% to winning. The Democratic mayoral primary for New York City. This is amazing news because the Livable Streets candidates had a wonderful evening in the Democratic primary for New York City. This is amazing news. So if you are an urbanist like myself, this is almost as good as it gets. I mean, Brad Linder and Zohran Mamdani, and it's like a whole ass movement behind him. Oh my God, that is amazing. So look at this. So Zohran Mamdani, at the best prediction, had him winning in the 8th round, but instead he decided to win in the 1st round. And look, I was canvassing, so I'm one of these urbanists. I'm not just sitting here talking on the microphone to the YouTube video. I'm actually going to the community meetings and doing the canvassing and meeting with the people out in the street. And in this case, I was meeting with the people to get them to vote for Brad Lander and Zohran Mamdani. And clearly it pays off. And to be honest, I'm not all that shocked because what I saw when I was out there, the young people who were behind Zohran Mamdani's campaign, they were committed. And when I say they were committed, they were very committed. Like, people do not understand. Like, those 20-year-old Asian girlies, they were like 10 of them on every block, like at every police station, walking around patrolling, signing people up. They were also working hard for Virginia Maloney and some other more livable streets type candidates who Zohran Mamdani would benefit from. And look, I know what you guys heard, and Zohran Mamdani said he is a democratic socialist. Basically what that means, he is a European style Democrat. And so that means that for him and for everyone else, he believes that we as Americans are allowed to have nice things. We as young people are not just existing to service the old and the wealthy. We are allowed to have a nice life now before we turn 65 and retire out of the workforce. We are allowed to have a nice life when we're young and when we're fresh, and and we don't have to wait. And this is amazing. Like, you'll see people freaking out online. Oh, he's Muslim, this and that. London's got a Muslim mayor, and their train is, I can assure you that it is cleaner and safer than the train here in New York City. Even in my old district in Harlem, they voted for Mamdani also overwhelmingly, 18 point difference. So, and that is a primarily Black community. Granted, they do have some Muslims there, but it was not close. The bottom line is, it was not close. I am so thrilled. I'm relieved, actually, and thrilled. I was like, oh, you know what? If Cuomo had studied New York City, or even studied some of the other cities in Europe, and then came back with a vision, a reason why he wants to do the mayor job, then it would have been there for him because people would have said, "Oh, he's going to improve the quality of life," and then they would have voted for him. But between the sex pest thing, where he's like creeping on his young female staffers, and the whole like, "I'm going to run even though I don't have a reason or a vision. I just want to run for president." Well, you should just run for president and not for mayor. And so, look, I'm thrilled. People are going to say, oh, the business community is going to say, oh, we're going to leave New York City. And you know what New York people say when they say that? They're like, oh, great. When can you leave? Because they want the housing to free up so they can use it and for a cheaper rate. So they're not, you know, that's not, it used to work, but we're just hip to that now. You're going to be honest, you're just going to have to like govern better. The bottom line is that centrists have been governing so badly. Let me repeat, centrist Democrats have been governing so badly and so maliciously that they lost a winnable election, and they're going to lose it by like probably, you know, close to double digits. Look, yeah, I mean, it was a bloodbath. Like Andrew Cuomo, Zohran Mamdani only polled in the lead in in the last day of the election and in the last round in one poll. And then when the votes were counted, he just blew him out of the water. Didn't even have to wait. It was like 8:30, or it was like 9:15, and he had already won. It was already over. It was a blowout, and the lead just held up. Like it was glorious. And we as Democrats, you know, we need to do like they say, vote blue no matter who. That's what they told all the liberals and the left wing and the other people who are unsatisfied with Joe Biden, you know, an 80-year-old man who is struggling to form sentences. That's who they wanted us to support for president in 2020 and in 2024. But now you got these people like Kirsten Gillibrand, let's see here, you know, refusing to support the Democratic nominee for mayor. Let's see if I can find it here. Oh, yeah. Let me log in. Come on. Save. So if we look here, so like.
So I don't know. I can't fact check everything in real time. But do you know any of that to be inaccurate or accurate, including the original premise that he would somehow target synagogues if they were contributing to groups like Hatzalah, ambulance services, in a way that he could hurt the synagogues? I just don't want to give out information that's false, but I also don't want to shrink from information that's true.
Well, the caller is exactly the New York constituents that I've spoken to that are alarmed. They are alarmed by past public statements. They are alarmed by past positions, particularly references to global jihad. This is a very serious issue because people that glorify the slaughter of Jews.
Pause it for a second. That's her first lie. You didn't say we should engage in global jihad. Like, you're a U.S. senator.
This is a very serious issue because people that glorify the slaughter of Jews create fear in our communities. The global
Pause it for a
intifada
second. Who's glorifying the slaughter of Jews? She's talking about Zohran Mamdani. Is she claiming he's glorifying the slaughter?
Yeah, she's nuts. So you guys need to vote her out in the next time she's up for re-election, which I believe will be 2030, or run her out of there, run her out of the party. Make her so miserable that she no longer wants to be a Democrat. That's what I think should happen. Because that was just horrific what she said, and no one should be co-signing that or making excuses for her. Like, that was just awful. Like, look, I am very supportive of Israel and the safety of the Jewish community. But yeah, they need to be a state with equal rights. And you know what? The young people are saying that, look, we can't play dumb on this anymore. It's like, it's an insult to our intelligence. It's literally an insult to our intelligence. And so, like, for her to be equating that with like someone hating the Jewish community is really terrible, and she's going to struggle in her next election, I can assure you. Like, there will be no amount of money that will make me change my mind. There is nothing she could do. She could cure cancer, cure AIDS, she could solve poverty, and I still wouldn't vote for her. That's how horrible I think she is. So this is the kind of stuff that you would expect to hear from like Donald Trump or some crazy right-wing nut job, like not from Kirsten Gillibrand from New York. And it's very unfortunate. Like, some of these people are nuts. Oh, here you have Eric Botcher painting the gay rainbow. I love to see it. Good for him. He won by like 79% to like 20%. It was like, he's so good at his job. Like, I knew he was going to get reelected. So good at his job. In any case, oh yeah. So like, I'm just going to advise the Democrats that they need to get behind their nominee, Zohran Mamdani. And, that's, they want to win elections, because the thing about Zohran Mamdani here is that his win wasn't just a win for New York City. It was a win for America. And the whole world is watching New York City right now. And to be honest, I think, it will restore Mamdani becoming the mayor of New York City will restore some of the trust that was lost in America when Trump started imposing these tariffs and starting all these wars in the Middle East, blowing up all this stuff. So look, I'm an atheist, all that. Everybody knows that. But I don't believe in being Islamophobic or anti-Semitic. I think Zohran Mamdani has said that he's going to increase the funding to prevent hate crimes by 800%. So there's that. But yeah. So these are good things. And the people who say, oh, he's being socialist, like, the dude literally said, we're going to take care of your kid so you can go to work. And we're going to provide childcare so you can go to work and be a productive citizen. I'm like, we are going to freeze the rent on rent stabilized apartments. What is that? Rent stabilized apartments. There are about 2 million of them in New York City. And what they do is they're typically allowed that rent stabilized. They have a rent stabilization board or whatever. And what they do is, a rent guidelines board. And what they do is they vote on a recommendation for how much the rent should go up. And what De Blasio did was he paused it for several, like 3 times during his administration. So that's not going to affect the market rate apartments, but that will affect the rent stabilized apartments. And why do we have rent stabilized apartments? Because businesses wanted to accept the tax breaks in order to build the buildings, in order to, you know, they wanted to build large buildings, they wanted to build corporate offices or change the streets or and various other things. And so what happened is, as a way to benefit the community for doing some of these changes and doing some of these tax breaks for these real estate owners, is that a certain number of apartments need to be rent stabilized. And so and so look, no one's salary is going up, but the cost of living is going up exponentially. The cost of rent, market-based rent, is going up exponentially. And so something's got to give. And so, you know, Zohran Mamdani's like, look, we're going to pause. We're going to do a rent freeze. We're going to freeze the growth of the rent. I don't see a problem with that. That is not the end of the world. That is not socialism. That is just a freeze on a rent stabilized apartment. The business is still going to be able to collect their rent like the histrionics. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, unfounded. And then the bus thing. So he said he wanted to do the fast free buses. Well, the way the fast free bus program works is that the way the fast free buses work is that what happens is that the issue of fare evasion, there's like 45% of the people riding the bus are evading the fare. So they looked at it. They said, "How can we fix this?" Well, it's going to cost like over $1 billion to stop fare evasion on the bus. Now, if they just made the bus free, it would only cost $700 million. I don't know. Would you rather pay $1.3 billion or would you rather pay $700 million and just make the bus free? I'd rather make the bus fast and free with $700 million rather than spend $1.3 billion trying to enforce fare evasion. That's just my opinion. I like, those are the numbers. And look, when those are the numbers, look, I have to agree with the fast free buses. Like, unless you have different numbers you want to show me and cost out, like, but those are the facts. And so, like, all these Democrats, who claim they're being so smart, but then, they told everybody else to listen to the science during COVID. Meanwhile, well, when the science says free buses are cheaper than trying to enforce try and stop fare evasion, they don't want to hear it. Well, I think it's time to listen to the science again. In any case, so these are the primary platforms that he's doing, Zohran Mamdani. And you know what? I'm here for it. Here for it. Do all of it. Do all of it. All right. So, something else to note real quickly before I go. Zohran Mamdani, he used to do, so I run this forum called Micromobility NYC Reddit. And so our Micromobility NYC, so I am a moderator there. So one of my friends started up the forum and then they asked me to be a moderator. I decided to do it. And so if you want to go there and join, by all means, but be respectful. we are band happy over there, so be respectful. So what I would say is, so Zoran, before he was even running for office, he would like meet with us, come to some of our events like the Queensboro Bridge. They were doing some Astoria activism to get some protective bike lanes in Queens. And, I support that also. Um, a lot of people in New York, they're cycling and they want to cycle on the street, or sorry, they want to cycle on the sidewalk. Well, I want them to cycle on the bike lane instead of the sidewalk. I think that's better, and that's safer and it's more organized. And if you go to like the Netherlands or some of these other countries, Zurich and various other places, the street is more organized and the people cycle in the bike lane and not on the sidewalk. So that's what I would say there. And Zoran was supportive to make the buses better in Queens, make the bike lane, add the bike lanes in Queens, and he would hear our questions and listen to us. He likes the walkability, keeping the city walkable for people to enjoy, and creating nice public spaces for people. And so like so he was there for us when before we even knew he was considering running for mayor. And now that he's running for mayor and everybody is gobbling up what he's saying, we are not shocked, because we in the micromobility NYC community have always wanted to live a better quality of life. Many of us have young people, even some of the older people have been to these other countries that don't have the strong dynamic American economy and the strong innovation like we do. So that means they have far less money and resources. But then when you go there, go to a place like Spain, they got 12% unemployment, but no one looks like they're being starved. No one looks like they're being overworked. The train is spotless. And when I say spotless, it is very spotless. And the fare relative to their income is actually higher than it is in New York City, and people still use it. So, so well, again, it is spotless and it does take you everywhere. Literally, you can go from Barcelona all the way to Sitges, which is like 25 miles away on the same train line. I'm just like, and their bike lanes are beautiful. There are public spaces. I mean, good Lord, those super blocks. Oh my God. It's like being in a fairy tale. And I mean that. And I love it. I love it. And so, like, look, we here in New York are allowed to have nice things too. We want nice things too here in New York. We shouldn't have to go overseas to get some of those nice things in New York. Times Square should be completely pedestrianized. Herald Square should be completely pedestrianized. Of course, with the pedestrianization, I do agree with having a cycle track, so a bike lane that goes in two directions, um, along with the pedestrianization. It's doable. They do it. They're able to do it in France. They're able to do it in Spain. They're able to do it in Netherlands. They're able to do it in London at a fraction of the cost of America. And or sorry, yeah, at a fraction of the cost, but also with they're just not rich. They don't have as much money as we do. We've got more money than God, but I don't think we understand how to use it, and we don't understand really why people like New York so much and why they look up to it. And it's time to get back to understanding why people like New York so much. New York is vibrant. It's beautiful. It's amazing for creativity and artistry. And we need to, start building on the advantages that New York has rather than taking them away. And so when the billionaires and millionaires tell you that you need to like cuck your, lower your quality of life so they can get that extra nickel, you just have to like look at them and be like, no. You have to be like, look, if you need to leave New York, I mean, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, you have to do what's best for you. And the rest of us have to do what's best for us. In any case, on that note, let me know what you think down in the comments. And like and subscribe. All right.